On our last video, we went out to Puget Island for the weekend, and unfortunately our steering started leaking fluid on the deck on the way over. In this episode, we're going to be looking at the steering pump and repairing it. Alright, so we were out last weekend and the steering began leaking. Yeah, I want to fix it now, and so we're gonna take the steering wheel off, remove the pump, and I have the seal kit for it. We have the kit here. So for the Seastar Hynautic Helm pumps, the kit is a HSO5, and that covers H50, H51, H52 possibly, but definitely the H50. And yeah, the number for the kit is the HSO5. And that comes with the seals here for the valve body, and of course the shaft seals, which are what I'm primarily after. And then I picked up a couple liters of the proper steering oil. I did top it up with Dextron transmission oil, which does work, but because it's a lot thicker, it usually makes the steering more stiff. So I've opted to spend the extra money and buy the proper sort of thinner mineral oil based steering oil, which should make an improvement on the steering. It probably mostly is transmission oil in there now, which explains why it has been so stiff. Okay, as you can see, we have a fair bit of oil down in the pan, but you know, there still is quite a bit of oil in the reservoir. That's definitely not all of it, and the steering is still working, so that's good. But in any case, yeah, we have to remove the cap here, remove the steering wheel, and then remove the pump. Before we remove the pump from the fiberglass here, we do have to undo the hydraulic lines from the back. But before I start actually doing any of those hydraulic lines, we will be removing the pressure from the system. Otherwise, all the oil will start leaking out up here. Okay, so I'm just down in the aft cabin here. That's where the steering reservoir is. I'm gonna let the pressure out of the steering reservoir so then I can remove the pump. This is what I'm looking at here. All right, as you can see right here, we have the pump, and this is the Schrader valve here for filling it up and letting the air pressure out, and this is the gauge. Now this gauge is defective. An important check that I've always done, and probably a number of people with these type of steering systems, is you check to make sure it's in operating pressure, and usually that's about 20 to 25 pounds per square inch of pressure in the reservoir. When I discovered the issue and I went to top it off and repump it up, I noticed there's almost no pressure in it, and when I let all the pressure, it still stays there. So this gauge is seized and it's going to have to be replaced. But for now, all I want to do is I want to remove the cap here and then let the pressure out of the system so I can remove the pump from upstairs on the flybridge. Okay, so I'm just going to remove the Schrader valve here and just let the pressure out. Okay, that feels like the pressure's gone. Didn't feel like there was much pressure in there, but there's not much volume, so it's really hard to tell. I would expect maybe with the way the steering is, there's a good chance that it probably is letting the pressure out. Alright, so there's definitely no pressure now, as I have removed the cap here, and yeah, a fair bit of oil's leaked out, so definitely wouldn't want it to, you know, if it was an emergency, I probably would keep running the boat if I needed to, but you know, if we were out somewhere, then I'd probably check it daily and top it up. But looking on here, it probably has let out about half a liter up there, I would think. So it only holds a liter in this reservoir, so you only have so much to go, and once air is in the system, then you have to bleed it. So we have the pressure removed here now, so I'm going to go upstairs and I'm going to remove the pump. Okay, so we're just underneath the dash here, and these are the steering lines here, so I've just marked these with some tape, make sure we can get them exactly where they belong. Okay, so now we just have to undo these 4 screws here, and that should remove the pump, and then we can start to disassemble the pump and fix it. There is the pump. Okay, Hunt, we're gonna find out what's inside here. Okay, actually what we should probably do is just clean up all this old oil and get a good clean area. Alright, let's just soak all this oil up. You don't want any contaminants in this because this is a fairly clean piece of machinery. So any like particles or stuff could cause problems and further damage other seals in the system and stuff, eh?
Yeah.
So make sure at this point where we're starting to take apart the inside of it that we kind of have a really clean area in there. All right, Hunt, let's open it up here. These are the pistons here that pump it. And then there's some ball bearings in the bottom here. So when you turn it, these pistons go up and down and then force the fluid, right? There we go. And we can pull this little piece out here, and there's the shaft seal right there. So right there's the shaft seal. We can see that it's all sort of crumbling away, and that's what we're here to replace. Okay, so here's the Torrington bearing, here's the holder, and then the ball bearings here. So right there we have our lip seal right down there in the bottom, and that's what this is what we have to replace, is that right there. And there we go. So this one faces the outside, and then this one is on the inside. And yeah, we can see that's just crumbling away. Just about had it. It has had it actually. Yeah, and there we go. You can see that one too, just crumbling away. So that's why they leak. Nice and easy. And then we're down to a bare housing here, so we'll clean this up and we'll get our seals out and we'll start getting it back together. Okay, so I got my seal kit here, and comes with 3 of these larger O-rings. So those are for the valve body assembly inside the pump, and there's some instructions with an exploded view there. There's 4 other seals here. 2 of them I will use and 2 of them I won't use. So I believe these are to cover, a pair of these are for the older pumps. I think pre-1986 Hynautic had these, and then the newer ones were, this is a 1995 or pretty close to that, they'll use these 2 seals. So you have 2 of them you won't end up using. Those are what I'm gonna install into the pump now, and then we can hopefully get it back together and installed back in the boat. So yeah, there's a few different instructions here. It shows you the entire view of the way the thing goes together, and you know, the reference marks, that sort of thing. So yeah, these are the 2 seals we're putting in. All right, guess we'll get started. just got that seal down in here, and we're just gonna push it into place. And that's it. So that's the first seal that goes in. And then we're going to take this seal here, this lip seal, and then this one's gonna go down into place, right down in there. So I got a socket on just on an extension here, and we should be able to kind of push that down there into place. There we go. All right, so the new seal is installed. We can sort of clean this stuff up and reassemble it back the way it goes, and then we can put it back in the boat, get the air out of the system, and we should be back to a functioning boat again. Go. Put this back in place. Okay, so the seals are in. We have the shaft in here, and we put the that sort of plastic retainer in with the ball bearings on it. Oh, below that there's the thrush washer and the Torrington bearing there, and yeah, the shaft's all in here. It's where it belongs, right at fully seated, and you got to make sure you get this little sort of cross piece in here, because that's what actually turns the turns these pistons here. So the next piece to go in is this. I don't know, this might be a little tricky to get lined up, but it has to line up with with that shaft opening. So well, I think we got it. Yeah, we got it. Okay, so that's in there. And then the next piece will be the valve body in the back. So we have to make sure that lines up with our marks, and we should be all right. Okay, before we do that, we'll just give everything one last wipe. And I have changed these O-rings on the valve body. They just pop right off there, and put them on nice and easy. And yeah, other than that, I think we are ready to put this thing back on. So here we go. Like that, and we are rolling. So we'll work this into place. That is that. Now we got to make sure we got the right marks up here, and all right, we got this thing back in here, and we'll put the screws in, and I think we are ready to go. We're just going to tighten these down nice and evenly. Do a few turns on each one, then move to the next one. Eventually we'll be all tightened up. There we have it. We should have a working pump now. So this goes on this way, and we got to get a bolt in it, okay? I'll lay down there. Hunter helped in removing the air from the system by turning the steering wheel about 1 turn every 2 to 3 seconds. Down below I do a procedure to actually open up the valves to allow the fluid to pump through the entire system, removing all the air. This procedure is described quite accurately in the instructions that come with the pump repair kit. Alright, I think we're about ready to wrap things up here. The bleeding procedure took a little while, but I kind of wanted to flush out the system, so I chose to open up the bleeder valves off the end of the cylinder, and we didn't get any air in the cylinder, so we probably could have not done that, but I displaced probably all the fluid through the system, so at least that's kind of good. But I'll just show you what we did here. Okay, so this is our reservoir. There's the gauge. I got the air pump still on here. Right down at the very bottom here, there's two 1/2-inch nuts, and they're pinned to the studs that they're on. And what you do is you basically back those off. Okay, you fill the reservoir with fluid and you pump it up. Now over here. So over here you can see the cylinder over there. The cylinder there, it has bleeders on it and some tubes, and I was using those to actually remove the fluid from the system. But if you're just actually bleeding the air from the system, you probably don't actually, and you haven't actually fussed with the actuator, you're probably just dealing with the rest of it. Now when you undo those purge screws at the bottom and then you turn the wheel, they say about 60 turns in one direction at about 2 to 3 seconds per turn. So basically you turn slowly for about 3 minutes, one direction. With this pressurized, you can see the fluid drop every once in a while and you can hear bubbles. So what it's doing is just sort of cycling it through the loop. And once you've done that a few times and there's no more, you've gone back and forth, once you close the purge screws, you should be able to turn back and forth on the wheel and see instant reaction. I had a Hunter up on the wheel, so asked him to turn one way, and he told me when he started to turn, when he finished to turn, and it was stopping and starting exactly at the right time. So it had good reaction time, therefore there's likely no air left in the system. So anyway, and then when you're finished, you basically close off those two purge screws at the bottom, and you set this to about 20 to 25 psi, and you're all set. So that's about where we're at with this now, and I think we're gonna wrap this up and we are done. So anyway, hopefully you might get something out of this job, and if you ever do have to deal with a helm pump, it won't be such a big deal. Anyway, thanks for watching.